And then check out our Twitter page at Wrestling with E, well, our X page, I should say, for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, and links to those interviews when they come. And it was a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. It was especially a good week for Impact Wrestling as they got a full 15 bunch of new signings. No, Stu?
uh, yes. Absolutely.
Um, of course, on Thursday, a bunch of WWE and NXT signees were released from the company. Um, we kind of saw this coming. You know, it sucks whenever anybody loses their job. Um, but, looking at this list, other than the problematic ones, it wasn't shocking considering where they was in the company. No, sort of.
I'm I'm really curious to see what the UFC list of layoffs is compared to this.
Is there going to be a UFC
I
layoff?
don't I don't know, but I think UFC has it say with the fact they don't fight every week.
Right. Well, let's uh let's get into the list. And this was announced actually yesterday. Uh, name
This
number
is
one, Matt Riddle. Uh, Mustafa Ali, Rick Boogs, Aaliyah Elias, Riddick Moss, Top Dollar, Shelton Benjamin, Emma, Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Cato, Dana Brooke, Mansoor, Mace, Quincy Elliott, Shanky, Yulissa Leon, Kevin Ventura Cortez, Eggman Juro, Brooklyn Barlow, uh, Bronson Montana, Alexis Gray, Abdul Abari Fitzgerald, and Daniel McArthur. We talked about Matt Riddle. I believe it was last week about the sexual assault allegations he put on the policeman from the
JFK.
airport,
Yep.
and we speculated if he was going to get fired back last week, when there was no rumors of cuts. This wasn't, oh, we need to cut somebody because of their paycheck. This was, somebody is problematic and it's time to cut the cord. No?
Well, no, this is more of the more of the cost cutting. Uh, yeah, the you know the cost cutting that comes when companies are bought out or merged. This is always this is always a thing. It happens in any business. Uh, it's I mean there are a couple of names that are shocking, clearly, uh, but a lot of these are. I'm not. I kind of forgot they were there in the first place, so I'm not gonna miss them.
It's terrible for me to even say this at this point, just because I'm saying this purely on a, business front of where they're coming from WWE by cutting down. It was essentially trimming the fat, no?
Yep, that's precisely what it was.
You know, and we could make, when it comes to Matt Riddle, we could say, oh, it was just cost cutting. That's just a great excuse to fire the guy. You can't put a belt on this guy and trust him. If you can't trust your talent, then why are they there? Now, you alluded to, shocking ones. And I believe you're speaking about Mustafa, right?
Uh, um, Mustafa and Ziggler. Ziggler because he was he's homegrown. He's never been anywhere else.
Really? He hasn't been other places?
Nope. He was he was OVW bred back when OVW mattered, and didn't need Netflix to survive. Um, of course. Don't you remember the Spirit Squad?
Yep.
What's nothing better than you know a 5-on-2 Hell in a Cell match where the 5 people are the ones that get buried, and then literally packed in the crate and sent back to OVW. Uh, but when he came back as Dolph Ziggler, and if anybody hasn't figured it out, that's a play on Dirk Diggler from Boogie Nights. So that's another that on the time scale of Vince McMahon pays attention to pop culture. That's about right. 7 some odd years. Actually, no, make it more like 10. Because he kept going around and announcing himself, and everybody thought it wouldn't work because his friggin' name was Dolph. Uh, I mean, a 20-plus year career, a little less than 20, a little less than 20, but um, eh, Ziggler hasn't been on TV lately. He was, everybody said he was being shaped to be the next Shawn Michaels and whatnot. But Mustafa Ali comes as even more shocking because he was literally on TV this past week on NXT.
Right. Um, it did seem like Ziggler was going to be a forever guy, but at some point in his career, he just got that X Pac heat, where he's there, great, but you know, he's never going up, he's never going down. He's just existing on the roster. You're gonna see him have a match. It's going to be somewhat good, and that's it. I'm not quite sure what they gave up on him. I think maybe after his title, when his Money in the Bank cash in, and then he lost it like a month later because he had a concussion. I don't feel like he really recovered after that.
He cashed it in the night after WrestleMania 29. Um, and the thing about it, I think, I think actually the turning point is Survivor Series 2014, where Ziggler has the best night of his entire career. And they portray Ziggler as the plucky underdog, defeating the authority, with help from Sting. But you know, Ziggler was being that was the whole thing is that everybody thought there was going to be a huge push after that, and people were expecting him to actually win the Royal Rumble, uh, and he just treaded water for the next 8 9 years.
I mean, the most significant thing he did after that was winning the NXT title. which was just a device to make Braun Breaker
Um,
bigger.
he he did have all right. Uh, he actually did uh main event uh backlash in uh in 2016. Um, they put it in October, and
Against The
uh,
Miz?
yep, and that's the night they put on Cena, Ambrose, Styles first because they
No,
didn't want to lose anything to the debates.
no, the match that finished that main evented that show was Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The stupid. I'm sorry. I hate to use that word. Even, uh, not the best cinematic match.
No, it wasn't cinematic. It was in the ring.
Wasn't that the Sister Abigail House of Horrors?
No, that was a was that with Randy Orton?
Yes. There was at least one House of Horrors match with Randy Orton.
No, that wasn't that one. Was it? No, it wasn't. I think we got past that. Um, a name I never thought was that I did not think was going to be on this list. Elias. I mean, but considering how many segments, uh, compared to how many matches he actually had for WWE, it's not shocking. No,
No. Nope. Not at all.
and
House of Horrors was Payback 2017.
um, of course, he goes with his brother Ezekiel, and but not his other potential brother Eli. I am, of course, speaking about Eli Drake. Yeah. Uh, Elias was homegrown as well, no?
Uh, wait. What did you say?
Elias was WWE. He
What?
wasn't in
Yeah.
no company before that.
Uh, no. He literally popped up in NXT as a drifter. He originally had a last uh, a last name,
Samson.
which was Sampson.
Yeah.
Um, and he's one of the few that kind of just popped up on main roster TV.
It's funny how over he got, and he literally did nothing.
I want to work with the fire. Oh,
I mean,
and
his biggest win, I would say, was against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania 36.
okay, but his biggest moment was with the Undertaker at WrestleMania 34.
But think about that. Think about that for a second. His biggest moment was. His biggest match was. You kind of understand what I'm doing
Uh,
here?
I think his biggest match was that uh, the Gauntlet match on Raw, where he actually got to be part of the first ever 7-man Elimination Chamber match.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's the one that where Seth wrestled for almost an hour straight.
Oh, I didn't watch that episode. Um, Aaliyah, if I'm being honest, I'm surprised she survived in WWE as long as she actually did. She
Yeah,
had no charisma. She had no wrestling ability whatsoever. Um, again, every time the NXT had cuts in the last like 5 to 10 years, I was like, why isn't Aaliyah on this list? Why isn't Aaliyah on this list? And it's still somewhat puzzling to me. Maybe, we know what Gigi does for shoes. We don't know what Aaliyah does. So,
I
that's
mean,
what I'll chalk
she's
that up to.
she's in the record books uh, for the quickest women's match win.
I mean, so is Natalia.
Yeah, but hey, at least Aaliyah didn't have a gimmick where she had IBS.
Well, she had a gimmick that gave people IBS because her matches were the drizzling shits. Thank you.
I mean, I do think they need another, spunky female that's Zelina Vega's height.
So basically, Selena Vega.
If we could clone her, that'd be great.
Well, what's wrong with Selena?
Because somebody to we need somebody to kind of counteract. You need that heel to her baby face.
Why isn't that Alexa Bliss, though?
That's another name I'm scared of coming up.
I don't think so. For the simple fact that
She has a kid. She needs this job.
she's got kids, yes, but she does good work for WWE when she is actually in the ring. So I feel like she has somewhat of a job security in that aspect.
Mhm. I I would almost think, considering that considering that we didn't really see a lot of her uh, during Bray's unfortunate passing. Um, I hate to say this, but I think that's gonna be taken into account if there's ever, uh, you know, if there's ever if it's ever up for debate, in corporate office.
You know, there's two ways they could go about it. They can continue the story with her and uh, Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy because he was Uncle Howdy, and they could wrap up the story, in a nice little neat little bow, just to give the fans some type of peace of mind about that open-ended story, and maybe be a nice little tribute to Brave in the same breath. Or they could, the demonic Alexa Bliss, they could just brush her under the rug, pretend it never happened, and just let her continue being Alexa Bliss. Little Miss Bliss, I should say.
You know, if what happened hadn't happened, I would have said Bo Dallas would be on this list. Um,
Are we actually sure that he's contracted?
I'm pretty sure he is. Um,
I don't. I don't. If what happened didn't happen, we would still be in the rivalry between Bray and Bo. So it kind of cancels itself out. You know what I mean?
yeah, but the funny thing is, I can see them. attempting a Bo Dallas is possessed by Bray Wyatt in homage to him. And that sounds like something Bray would absolutely love.
It does. I think it's maybe too soon.
No, I mean, yeah,
Right.
clearly, dude. But it would imagine, just imagine that pop
Right.
if it's Bray's music, and and the theme comes out and it's Bo,
And
they're
if he
gonna
comes out with Harper, no, Redbeard
oh god,
and and Strowman,
that would that would definitely, I think that would make them automatically faces at that point.
100%.
I mean, we do tend to speak things into existence a lot.
Well, let's talk about Riddick Moss. This guy, like what, 1 year ago, was over like Rover with the madcap gimmick of telling bad dad jokes, and got himself over. Had the rivalry to kind of cement the turn with Baron Corbin, and then after that they just stripped him of the bad jokes and the things that made him popular, and
Mm,
made him Riddick Moss, which negated people to not care about him anymore.
a Riddick Moss gathers no stones. Um, it. This is almost a very weird game of who'd you rather, Moss or Corbin.
Oh well, you know how I feel about that, but um, Corbin is still employed, though.
Yeah, that's honestly that's shocking for
Um,
a guy that they publicly, on TV told him his gimmick sucks, and it was told to him by the man that gave him the fucking gimmick,
who are you talking about?
JBL.
Oh yeah, the you can't polish a torch.
Oh,
Believe me, I tried. You know they've dropped the bar. Yeah, they dropped the bar there. Because they should have did a tag team between Baron Corbin and to the moon Cameron
Cameron
Grimes
Grimes.
with JBL as their manager. That is fucking gold TV.
I would have said if Cameron Grimes was still excessively running the new generation $1 million man. Uh, Plus, yeah, given what's happened among the DiBiase family, um, yeah, I'm not so sure.
Well, I mean, we're talking about something that happened. The JBL gimmick was a couple months ago, so
I was a little bit more, but at the time, that's when this embezzlement thing got out.
I mean, but then you have the that movie, The Money, that just came out, and that the whole gimmick
That,
of him
yep,
how he got his money was the
yes,
GameStop
GameStop. Yeah.
thing. So it is a callback in a way.
I mean, if they called him like Baron Stonks.
Well, luckily Cameron Grimes' name isn't on this list. But somebody that is Emma. She came back just to get fired again.
And with the new and promoting the news that Elimination Chamber is going to be in Perth, Australia, only for 2 minutes later to go, whoops, never mind, I just got released. Talk about awkward. God.
Are there any No, Real Ripley, the biggest Australian in the company. So yeah, they got Australian talent. Um, so I don't think it's any surprise that Emma wasn't going to walk in WWE. If you can't walk in Impact, then how are you supposed to walk in WWE?
That's the thing, though. She had her most success in Impact.
She had almost success in NXT.
I mean, I'd love to see her do the dance again and that theme music. Uh,
I
and
mean, when
they,
she's
they,
more,
they
when
can
she's
recreate
desperate enough, she'll do it.
Amarella in Impact now.
Okay, so why it didn't work in Impact? When somebody gets released from WWE, what is the first transition for that person? They go to Impact, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and when you sign that contract with Impact Wrestling, you are legally obligated to do what?
Wrestle,
No,
entertain.
win the championship.
Oh God, that's oh God, I forgot about that. The unspoken rule.
You win the you win the
Any
Knockouts Women's Championship.
it's any belt now. I mean,
Yeah. Uh, when Emma signed with Impact Wrestling, she did not win that championship. She has yet to win that championship. So what does that tell you about her and her personality? That Impact, literally the most easygoing company out of all the companies out there today, will not put a belt on you.
now that now that Emma's released and Moss is released, she can go back to being Tennille Dashwood, and Moss can be captain. And they can be captain and Tennille.
Oh God.
Oh yes,
Well, I'm more partial to Emma Moss.
uh, mixed martial Moss.
Emma Moss. We need to get Black China back. I don't even remember why we fought Black China.
It was something to do with the Kardashians or something.
I don't fucking
Uh,
know, but
I think I think it was a Twitter thing. I don't know.
I don't know.
Accent. Who gives a crap?
Like I listen to this. Um, like people watch this person, Dana Brooke. Um, how's she gonna pay for her next plastic surgery now?
Oh God. Oh God. That poor woman. That you could literally do a timeline of her career by how her face looks.
You know, and it is a shame because when she first came into WWE and NXT, she had a lot of potential.
She is
You know,
part of the beautiful people.
sh she was with Emma. Emma was her little buddy. She had that rivalry with the announcer girl. She was athletic. She was pretty decent
She
in the
could do,
ring,
she could do
and
that impressive flip on their entrance.
right. And it just seemed like it was her career, her future was good, And then she got to the main roster, and it feels like her legs were clipped from underneath her. And she kind of lost all her confidence, and it was just down. She fell harder than she did at WrestleMania 37 on the ramp.
Uh, uh, Bringing her up to the main roster as Charlotte's lackey, trying to dress as Ric Flair, especially when nobody on the main roster was supposed to know who it was. That kind of was a bit DOA. Um, I never saw Dana Brooke as champion material. Not even 24/7 champion material, and she's held that belt. Uh, but when your best angle, where the most watched part of your career involves an angle, where it involves a, a, a wedding about a title. I mean, it was hilarious, but Tozawa and Tamina overshadowed them completely uh, during uh, that story. But
It's not exactly hard to overshadow Dana Brooke at this point.
yeah, yep, yep, absolutely.
We talked a little bit about Mustafa, and I'd like to go back to him. What do you think went wrong with Mustafa? Did his mouth get in his own way?
Uh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he literally announced he was going to be on Raw on NXT this past week because there's an NXT North American title match between Dominic Mysterio and Dragon Lee,
Right.
which presumably they want to fast track Dragon Lee to the main roster.
Which would be a smart decision.
So it absolutely would. I'm not sure if Raw is the best place though.
Well, I
I
mean,
think
you're not getting him on SmackDown. What? You're just going to put him in the Latino World Title?
mm, no, I just think he could have more. I think better matches if. Then again, you know what? They'll probably make him. They'll declare him a free agent.
Possibly.
Um, but Ali. Well,
And I like,
I I
yeah,
I would swear that if the pandemic never happened, Ali would probably be at main event status.
I disagree. And here's why. I feel like the biggest thing we could say about Ali's career was wrong place, wrong time. What was, and you could try trace that back to 2019. Yeah, 2019. The Elimination Chamber Gauntlet. The Kofi Kingston, where he ran the gauntlet, wrestled everybody, only to lose to Daniel Bryan. And that really put Kofi Kingston on a higher level and a higher standard. Why was Kofi Kingston in that position? Because Mustafa Ali got a concussion and could not compete in the match. That was Ali's spot. Kofi Kingston took that opportunity. Kofi Mania was supposed to be Ali Mania.
But yeah, some might say that Kofi was kind of owed that spot.
it's not a matter of being old. It's about who who got the spot. He got that spot. But if that was, you can't tell me that that spot wasn't meant for Ali. It was supposed to get Ali over. It got Kofi over, which I'm not complaining about it. I'm not saying that Kofi absolutely did not deserve it. But that was where Ali fell from grace. Then you have the hacker gimmick that never went anywhere.
Uh, you have the controversial tweets where he ends up getting released that first time.
Was he released?
Yes,
Okay. Um. Then you have
retribution.
what was it called? Retribution,
Retribution.
which was the stupidest fucking name you could ever have
Yes,
used.
the absolutely stupidest slapjack. Hey,
And
let's take the thing Stevie Ray used to carry around and make a character out of it.
so yeah, it that that died out, and what was supposed to be, the new Nexus became a a mid card
A
jobber
C
team.
a C tier New World Order that
Right.
that only had Virgil.
And then they did the whole thing with him and Mansoor. Um,
Oh, that prejudice a bit.
yeah. Speaking of Mansoor, he's on this list, and I'm disappointed in that because I liked Mansoor. He was a nice guy. You know, Mansoor Mania every Saudi
I
Arabia
mean,
show. No,
he's he's got a win of the biggest battle royal of all time.
he beat Cesaro.
Yes, it's um, they were pushing him as the great. I don't want to say it like this, but I'm gonna the great Hindu hope.
Hmm.
They like he was the second coming of
The Great Khali.
yeah. Uh, I mean, hey, he greatly came back for that show in India,
He did.
uh, and then you have the fact that, which I assume this is going to lead us into Shanky.
Well, before we get to Shanky, unfortunately, Mansoor goes back into Carbonite. Um, when he will be released from it ever again, who knows?
But he will be kept in the gorilla position uh, until uh, a time to be discussed.
Shanky, oh man, that one really sucks. I like Shanky. He was entertaining. He was full of, you know, those good vibes.
Yeah, full of vigor and wanting to have a good time, wanting to be entertaining, knowing what he was. He knew he was you know he was he was one big motherfucker, but
That he was.
uh, you know, and he went out and he had fun with it.
I mean, how could you look at Omos and then look at Shanky and think Omos was better than Shanky?
Oh God, I mean, and again, they hadn't done anything with Shanky prior to the Superstar Spectacle, but at the same time, Indashir was reformed with Veer Mahan and whatever his name Singh is. Uh,
You're talking about
when
Fatman Singh?
yeah, no, that's AEW's thing. This is oh
Oh,
god,
yeah.
oh, I can't remember it. I'm pretty sure it's a thing. I'm sorry if that really sounds t- t- prejudiced, but when it was Veer and Shanky, which by the way, if you get saddled with a name like Shanky, I mean, you gotta you gotta you gotta work your ass off to get the name over, let alone yourself.
Right.
And I mean, they didn't put any like pronunciation on it. He was an adverb. I'm feeling kind of shanky tonight. Shanker's gonna shank. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, like yeah, like Shanti or something like that. But nope.
Shanky. Just Shanky.
I'm kind of I was kind of expecting a Great Dane to show up next to him.
Hmm.
Scooby
Killian Dane?
Doo. But
Killian Dane and Shanky. For, for whatever promotions
but
wants to book that, you're fucking welcome.
Killian Dane, Killian Dane was by no means great, nor was he actually Danish.
He was Irish, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and a lot of Irish goodbyes.
Um, Quincy Elliott. Wasn't that Odyssey Jones?
No,
Okay.
Odyssey Jones is, as far as we know, still under contract. Uh, he was drafted in the most recent draft, Raw. Then he got injured.
Oh, he's
Uh,
injured.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, and oddly enough, he's from my neck of the woods. How about that? Uh,
Interesting.
uh, oh, he, oh, apparently he's, okay, he was actually at the Superstar Spectacle.
Odyssey?
Yeah. Yeah, he wrestled Braun.
Really? Braun is
Braun Breaker,
injured.
yeah. Braun Breaker.
Oh, okay.
Um, but Quincy Elliott was the attempt to do an LGBTQIA plus gimmick. But the guy also rode a motorized scooter, not me, to the ring.
Because you're not motorized. Yet.
No, no, not anymore. Um, uh, but he was interesting to watch. I mean, the biggest point of his career was winning a match at NXT so he could be Shotzi's co-host for NXT Halloween Havoc, which, by the way, it looks like we're getting another Chucky Halloween Havoc. Um,
I love that crossover.
uh, so, but when you look at it, you have Pretty Deadly who are doing it as as subtlety smacking you in the face.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the promo they ran last night about how about how they over exaggerated Elton's shoulder
Right.
injury, um, and they do all these things, and then like they make it seem so serious. And then the doctor comes on, he's got a separated shoulder, he'll be fine. And it's almost like well, they have like almost like a never let go Jack moment, and there's so many uh, colloquialisms for masturbation in the promo. I mean, and when you can deliver it like that and be entertaining, somebody like Quincy Jones, who is literally not smacking you in the face with subtlety, but you know, really, really out there. There's no problem with being that way. Absolutely not. But wrestling fans are fickle. If things aren't, if things don't have an air of mystery to them, they fail. And Quincy Elliott was, uh, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. Um,
Right.
and it,
You know, those type of gimmicks, they only work as, like you said, with Pretty Deadly. It's, you know, but it's not explicitly said. You know what I mean?
yeah, and and it's almost like Anthony Bowens. I mean, a bunch of people didn't know his sexuality, and they didn't care about his sexuality.
Right. He's just
Uh,
the guy that asks his daddy to scissor him, um, and that says that they have arrived.
yeah, and I mean, that's that's so much subtlety.
Why is
You
there
know,
subtlety in that?
because we know what they mean, but then we know what they also mean.
Right.
And Quincy Elliott was just there to be fab, and
BFAP did
she's going
not
too.
get fired.
Uh, she probably will be.
Well, I feel like, if they need somebody to pretend to be Bianca if she's not there, great class in queso.
Mm, you have a lot more people in NXT that could pull that off.
I mean, you don't think that BFAB and Bianca look almost identical? Like they could be twins?
No, no, not at all. Honestly, if anything, BFAB looks like Lil Kim before she you know went on the Dana Brooke Botox plan.
Hmm. Um, now name Mace. You, Kaliko, seem to be really high on Mace. I never seen it, but then again, when you're named Mace in uh, a terrible faction, you're kind of dead from the start, no?
See, when when they put you on commentary, which if anybody hasn't realized by now, Mace's former world commentator Dio Madden, and as Dio Madden, he he had charisma. He had he had courage. He had the balls to stand up to Brock Lesnar. Yes, he got put through a table for it, but he was getting over as an announcer. And then they they turned him into they considered Brock putting him through the table, the longest injury ever. And then he's looking like a Mad Max reject, and then he's a male model. The thing about being strapped with the male model gimmick, and not not Rick Martel, is that Mace, whenever he got TV time, he sold the crap out of it. He was never looking, into the camera. He was always looking off at the distance, as if every time he was on camera, it was a modeling shoot. He tried to do the best with what with what he had, and then when you take away the foundational building block that you built the gimmick on, and you put them with someone else, that's like
Not to do
that's like that's like taking a boat that's supposed to take you to the other side, of the river, stopping halfway, kicking everybody out, and telling them to swim.
right. Um, Shelton Benjamin came back in 2016, I believe, 2017. Did
Yes, sir.
incredible things with the Hurt Business. Did some great
And
things with Chad Gable as well.
yep, yep. And Shelton Benjamin was Jason Jordan 2.0.
Which, I mean, yeah, Shelton Benjamin.
And get and guess who's still employed? Jason Jordan.
Jordan, yeah. What did you think of the work for Shelton Benjamin? It seemed like they were doing great things with the Hurt Business. Obviously, that died early on. It could have been great, wasn't it? Didn't, and he kind of just, fluttered from that point on.
It 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 could have. I don't I don't know if this is the end of the releases. We'll probably get a couple more, if not a whole bunch more by Monday. Um, I'm surprised that Cedric is not on this list.
I agree, but
Not because
he
he,
didn't
didn't,
lose.
he doesn't have talent. It just if he's not being used.
Right.
Um, the thing about Shelton is when he got released the first time, he landed on his feet.
Right.
And he'll do it again. He's coming to the tail end of his career, and you know, I Tony Khan will go after him for sure. Uh,
I'm not so sure about that. But
I mean, Shelton is a former ROH. He's an alumnus.
if we get to repackage the Charlie Haas again, and then
Haas,
Tony Khan could say, I brought back the world's greatest tag team. worship you.
Yeah, except Haas is too busy in SWE down in Texas.
Hmm.
So, and he looks nothing like he used to. So, um,
Brother Cato, Commander Sneeze.
God bless you. First, see, originally named Babatunde, that was his indie name. He was he was apparently a big indie name.
I never heard of him before.
Yeah, I never heard of him either. You know, I mean, with your first appearance is the Greatest Royal Rumble.
I don't even remember him in that.
Yeah, he was there. I think he was. I'm not sure if he was before or after Yokozuna. Um,
Hmm.
but he was, being, going from being a giant to being Shane McMahon's underground lackey, and having Shane give you a fucking different name every time. Does that's what it freaking sounded like. Like it was like first it was Baba Tunde, then it was like Baba Kato, and then it was Daba Kato, and then it was friggin' Aziz. Why? Why would you? It's the thing with Reggie being renamed Scripps. Fucking stupid. But he was doing. He was, I think, the first ever consistent giant jobber, because he is his last match. I think he lost to Tyler Bate, and yes, Tyler Bate is the big strong boy, but compared to Dabakato, he could a sneeze and knock him back a couple rows, but yet did the job. Uh, I mean, watch. He's the one that ends up going to Japan and ends up improving himself greatly.
What about Ikemen Jiro?
Oh, jacket time. I
You
mean,
know, the only thing I remember about his run was that he teamed with um
Kushida.
Kushida, and he had the runs. They
Uh,
literally showed him having diarrhea.
I mean, I mean, the guy, took his gimmick, seriously. I mean, he literally, he'd never take his, jacket off, and you know, he could have probably gotten even more over based on the chance for him to take off the damn jacket.
Jacket
Jacket
off.
off, jacket off,
I
and
feel
then and then Pretty Deadly comes in and says, "Okay."
like I feel like he was more of a main roster gimmick than an NXT gimmick, if that makes sense.
I almost like a Heath Slater or Titus O'Neil.
Right. I mean, it's not to say those guys weren't successful, or that he couldn't have been successful. But I mean, there's so much you could do in front of 300 people. weekly that don't pay to be there. All right. Surprisingly enough, we've spoken about this for about an hour now. Uh, that being said, Matt Riddle, where do you see him going, if anywhere?
Uh, I see him going to his local apothecary and asking him for the highest THC strain ever.
I don't see
Uh,
I don't see AEW taking a chance on this guy, considering all of the grief and problems they have with CM Punk at this point.
I mean, if he does show up in AEW, it's going to be with QTB and QT Marshall.
Right.
Marshall. Um, honestly, I expect Riddle to go back to MMA, have one fight, and then retire.
We can only hope, right?
Yep.
Um, Elias. I feel he'll go to Impact if he continues wrestling after this. Thoughts?
I could see Impact having a lot of fun trying to duplicate Elias, Ezekiel. Um, Impact loves doing that type of stuff.
They do.
Um, so, man, yeah. I mean, can you really make a creative acronym out of Impact? Impact stands for
TNA
nothing.
stands for
Take no action.
um Dolph Ziggler. I think that's the biggest question mark. Does he retire and just become a stand-up comedian, or does he go to Impact? I
He's more sit down comedian. Uh,
I personally see him going the GCW route with Zack Ryder and Brian Myers if he does continue wrestling.
you know, I wouldn't I wouldn't put it past the WWE to make him an agent.
Rehire him?
Rehire him as an agent. Because that's what they usually do before they make someone an agent. They have to release him from his contract as an in-ring performer so they can sign him under a new contract as as a behind the scenes person.
Hmm.
Uh, I would, if anything, I'd expect I expect Ziggler to go to Japan.
Honestly, I don't. I don't think it would work if he did. I feel like you said, Baba Kato might. One name we forgot to mention was Top Dollar. I feel like Michael Cole was the one that fired him. From Top Dollar to Flop Dollar, you're fired, motherfucker.
Second time, second time fired too. His real name is AJ Francis.
Um,
Francis.
it's hilarious that they brought him just to back just to get fired. But I mean, when you bring back a group without, the leader of the group, it's not gonna go over well, and it didn't. Ironically enough, Adrian the Adonis is still employed with DFAB.
Ashanti, the Adonis, again. First two names, fucking stupid. Ashanti, and then the is Thee. That's the that's the royal form of we. Is in quotation marks in his name. Fucking stupid.
Yeah. You, that bothers you a lot more than it does other people, I believe.
Uh, grammar, grammar crap like that. Infuriates me.
Greg Moss and Emma, back to Impact, you know?
Well, Moss, first time Impact.
Right.
Emma, yes.
Aaliyah, um, Canadian Indies?
Adopted by the Mysterio family.
Hmm.
You know, oh my god. Watch AEW pick her up and put her with House of Black,
Oh, God, that, yes, 100% I agree with this. You
so
have my permission, Tony.
we can redo Buddy and Aaliyah.
And if they do the gimmick that Dom is doing with Rhea, with Aaliyah and Buddy,
Oh god.
that would just be good shit. Uh,
I mean, would Aaliyah be calling Buddy Daddy?
yeah,
Dad, Daddy Matthew.
Daddy Matthews. There you go. It's better than Buddy. What a fucking stupid name.
My buddy, my buddy.
Don't call me Buddy, pal. Dana Brooke, where does she go?
To get more Botox.
Maybe they'll rehire her if she doesn't have the same face.
Then they'll be like, who the hell are you? Nope, you gotta go through NXT for 2 years.
That's where I was to begin with, bitches.
How? Why are you saying that? We have no idea who you are.
And that's how you win in life. Okay,
I mean, your kids are out here.
I think it's time to move on, no?
Yes, quickly and more quickly, yes.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.